What's happening, Shredder Nation? Happy Tuesday. Welcome to episode number 103 of Living the Shredder Life. My guests tonight are the current 2022 New Zealand Grand Prize Isabody winners for the first time ever in company history. It was a couple, and these two amazing human beings sitting on the other side of my screen, Trac and Henz Walker. Welcome back to the call, guys. Together, I'm really excited for this one.
Yeah, it's so cool to be here again.
Again. Yeah. Well, for those of you that haven't tuned in for the last couple weeks, Trac was episode 101. Henz was episode 102, and I was like, look, like we got to get this back. We got to get the trilogy, and we got to kind of bring this full circle and see really, the goal tonight is to show you guys, we've already shared your guys' stories. For anybody who didn't catch it, you want to hear their story individually. Both of their stories are epic in their own way, but now together as a couple, this is what I want to really show people. When saying yes to yourself, what does that have the ability to do? What is the opportunity when you can say yes to your health? How can that one little decision, that one simple decision, how can that radically shift everything else? Are you guys kind of cool with that framework and what the jive is? Perfect. Henz is saying let's roll. Okay. So first off, I appreciate you guys. For those of you guys that don't know, they are in the future. They are 17 hours in the future. So it is 6 a.m. their time that they're waking up to make this happen for everybody. So hopefully Trac is like, give me butter coffee. Give me butter coffee. There you go. I had some of mine too. Cheers. So let's jump into this, guys. Let's just dive in off full steam, okay? And I know it's early and I'm going to get you thinking, but and any one of you can start. It doesn't matter. But I want to start off with this question. You guys both shared that in your health journey, you had gotten to a point before Isagenics came into your life. Unfortunately, you guys were in a bad place. Your health was deteriorating. You weren't feeling very well. And you were on the verge of divorce, right? You guys were fighting. You guys were on the verge of divorce. You were creating this life for yourself and your children that neither of you wanted. You both have saw that. You shared it in your own stories. My question for you guys, which I didn't ask either of you, what ultimately led to you guys deciding that health was the answer? Because it seems like a very unlikely thing that people will go for when divorce is showing its face. Maybe it would be therapy, maybe it'd be whatever. Like, what kind of led you guys to saying yes to health? I've been really curious to ask you that question.
To be honest, it's really just what came across it's what was put in front of our path. Like I said on my call, like I was on my knees in my room, I was in tears and I was crying, and I was just like, Lord, you gotta show me something. You gotta put something in my path, because me as an individual, I was broken, and him as an individual, so was he. But because he's a man, often we see our men just soldier on and soldier on and soldier on. But I got to a point where I was literally, when I say broken, some of you will understand what that means, but others won't, because you probably never actually hit rock bottom. But I was just completely, my heart, everything was numb, and I wanted out of the world. That's how broken I was. So it wasn't that we chose health. It was that health was literally put in front of our path. When you're just seeking for something, and when an answer drops in front of you, And so, of course, I just said to Henz, look, this is what I'm going to do. And he said, because he's an amazing husband, now I say that. But he one thing he has always done is support me in my choices and my decisions 100%. So I said yes. He said yes because I said yes. And then ultimately, because we said yes, it just became what it is today. so thankful that we did say yes. It all comes back down to that one word, yes. So it could have been a counselor. We would have said yes. It could have been cocaine for all we know. We would have said yes because we were that desperate. Thank God it was health because it's changed everything radically.
Yeah, I sure am glad that you chose health over cocaine. That's for sure.
Yeah. Could have been a different outcome. Yes.
Let's just get that out there. So that's awesome. And I remember you, Henz, on our call last week, you shared that same thing. You're like, look, like, Trace went into this, and I was like, okay, like if you're gonna do it, I'm gonna do it. And I just want to. I find that remarkable, to be honest with you, because I'm just trying to envision. I mean, I unfortunately went through a divorce myself. Like I know what that was like, and getting to that place. And unfortunately, it didn't work out, for us. And some things in life obviously are better. I think that particular situation, but to see you guys thriving right now, and seeing your family and seeing all the videos and the happiness and what it's brought to your guys' life, it's just awesome the way that it is. And it's so. I mean, I picked up on you, Trace, is don't live life with a closed mind. I mean, make sure that you're always open for opportunity that presents itself, because you never know where that opportunity is. And instead of saying no all the time, what if we said yes? That's what I'm getting. I mean, what if we just turn things around? We flip the script a little bit. Henz, you're nodding your head like you agree. Like, what if we just said yes to opportunity? What could that do? And I'm really hoping that's kind of the message that people will grab from you guys, is like, because you were willing to say yes, because you had that open mind, it's now radically shifted everything in your life, right? So kind of take us through, like, Trace, you said yes. You said, this is what I'm going to do. Obviously somebody presented Isagenics to you, which is a full-blown health system. ER Shred kind of came along later on, but you guys had radical results, obviously, with the Isagenics program, right? When you first started, what was that like for you guys when because obviously, you're in a place where it's like, okay, divorce is present, and then all of a sudden I'm going to go on this health journey. I mean, that's like two totally, you know what I mean? Like, how did you guys end up working through that? Because I know there's so many people out there that are sitting like, holy crap, I need an answer. Like, something's not right. And they're going off on their children. They're going off on their spouse every day. They're going off on, maybe work doesn't feel right. Like, kind of, it wasn't clean, right? Like, it was still messy, right? Like, yeah.
Yeah. And sure. It still sometimes can get messy today.
Good.
But because, and that's real shit, it's not a radical change that's never going to struggle again. The reality is that we've learned and grown so much, and the trust and the communication is now at a healthier place, that when we do hit a struggle wall, we know how to work through it rather than attack each other. We work together through it. And I think so it's just learning, because we were open-minded to say yes to something. Through it has come self-development, of course. That's probably one of the biggest things, because I've now learned who I am, how I work, what triggers me, my hinging points, all those sorts of things, and same as him. And so I know his trigger points, he knows mine. It's like a no-go zone. Don't go into those areas.
Yeah.
Push
the button.
And then you get a whack.
Yeah.
But I think, and we were so, like, especially me, I was so tense and so tight and so stressed out and so exhausted that anything would ignite me to be like, just get out of my sight. I don't want to see you. Don't touch me. Like, it was really, really bad. Like, I couldn't even look at him, because when I look at him, I was just like, or like, it was like regret, you regret your choices. So when we started, I'm not going to say it was easy, because it wasn't. But then again, when I'm trying to think about those first 16 weeks, because we were putting in fuel into our body that we had never put in before, that we say radical, that radical change happened because of the fuel then started changing this. And because this was changing for me especially, it gave me power to be, I don't know, just like a nicer person, to think before I speak.
Yeah.
Sometimes I still don't think before I speak, but I can take time to really think about, okay, my actions right now, how are they going to affect him or my children? If I respond in this way, what is going to be the outcome? So I've really learned, because I'm fueling my body better, I've learned to be able to just think better, take time, think before I speak. And it all comes down to, because I'm talking about me because that's my experience, because I'm fueling myself better, my brain's working better. And as weeks are going on, I'm starting to feel better. And when you feel better, it's like, oh, you become more confident. And then I start looking better. And when I could look in the mirror at myself and go, oh, I like what I'm seeing, because I'm then becoming happier in myself. This is the key.
Yep.
Self-love. Because I'm then learning to love myself, I then can portray that onto my husband and love him. I can portray it onto my children and love them. So the problem wasn't him or the children. The problem was that I never loved myself.
Yeah.
That's why I say the word hate, but that's such a horrible word. But there was hate in me. Yeah. It wasn't because I hated him and what he was doing. It's because I didn't have that self-worth, that self-love. So what he was doing and what was happening with us, okay, it wasn't right. But because I had all that hate and anger in here, it made it so much easier to portray it onto him and make everything his fault. It was all his fault why our marriage was failing. It was all his fault why our children were naughty. It was all his fault. Reality was, it was both. We are both to blame for everything that happened.
Yeah.
That's my view. That's my view.
Yeah, Henz, you're shaking your head in agreement. What do you have any thoughts about that, or how did you kind of view it? What did you come to realize by saying yes to you? And it makes perfect sense to me scientifically. I mean, the brain body is connected, the inflammation, the fact that you weren't functioning straight, Trace, everything was out of whack, right? And it creates this disbalance within the body. What did you kind of feel, Henz, around that situation? Like what started happening for you in the beginning with health and everything?
Yeah, well, I guess for me, like I mentioned, never been able to, I guess, express myself growing up, and never learning, I guess, the communication skills or anything like that coming into our marriage. For me, one of the hardest things was being able to open up, or feeling I could open up to express my struggles, I guess. And that concept of when you got your back against the wall, you can only go back so far, and when you hit that wall, the only way is forward. And through I guess our health journey, it sort of made me think I can only go one way, and that's forward. And I mean, for me, it was definitely more of a mental game than anything. Like I shared in my live, that for me it was the thoughts or the belief that I was perfect just the way I was. I don't need to change anything. Love me as I am, take me as I am, sort of thing. I am who I am. But that's actually a load of bull, because like I said, you got to always be in a space to develop yourself, and always look to be better. There's nothing wrong with being better.
Yeah.
So, for me, and culturally, food was a big thing. And the way amounts food was prepared, all of that sort of thing, was, am I going to be drinking smoothies for the rest of my life? Like,
damn straight you are.
Like all that sort of carry on, and then you're getting that, I guess, negativity in the background from morning, bub, from people around you, you know, because obviously if you're in a space where you're not thriving, then obviously that's a reflection of the community you're in as well, or those you affiliate with. So, you know, you're getting that negative thing like, oh, what are you doing that crap for, and all this sort of stuff, you know. So you have those doubts, and it's sort of, I think one thing I know for me anyway, it sort of gave me the ability to just block all of those voices out, block all those opinions out, and obviously to just do this for what really mattered, which was our marriage, ourselves, our family. You know, we weren't here to impress anybody. We, like has been shared, we were on the brink of divorce. So, you know, it was either do it or separate and walk away, you know, and there was no chance of that. So whatever it took, we were blooming, really prepared to take on. So, and here we are.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love, you know, I think so many people, they struggle in life, that maybe their relationship is off or something's not right. And we're always looking for outside reasons, right? Like you said, Trace, like you were looking for an outside reason, like, oh, it's got to be this, it's got to be that. And we all too often forget to turn inward, you know what I mean? To turn inward at first. But if you want change, you have to be the change, right? Like you have to be the change that you're looking for. I think that was Mother Teresa or something like that said that. Don't hold me to that quote, but I think it was like, right? Like, it's like, if you want that change, you have to be that change. And I love that you shared that, Trace and Henz, because I think it's so important for people to realize, you know, you shared, if you feel like crap, if you're not even confident with how you feel in your clothes, if you're not confident with how you feel in the mirror, if you're not confident with any of that, and you're portraying self-hatred on yourself, we start to fall into those stories, right? And we start to play that story long enough, and we're going to believe that story. I don't think people realize how powerful our self-talk is, you know? And you guys showed that with what you've done. I mean, with you guys winning, I mean, you went from where you were to stating something, to putting it into the universe, to saying, we're going to do this come hell or high water, no matter what. And just that, keeping that visual, you know what I mean? Can it be that simple? People will ask. Well, it can be if you choose it to be. And they are a walking example, right? It's like, you got to declare it, and then you have to, you know, go after it. And hence, you and I talked about that, right? Like launching in, not waiting, and just diving in, you know, head first. So when you started to, you know, Trace, you brought this up where it's like, you're crediting the fuel that you're putting in. When you started to, you know, I can imagine before you started using these nutritional products and such, you know, you obviously weren't eating the same way, right? I'm sure, you know, what was eating like before you started this? What was like, I mean, was it junk food? Was it just, you know, fried foods? I mean, what was it kind of like for you?
It was the mindset of anything I ate, I had to run a marathon. You know, I was a punisher. So I was brought, my mum did have anorexia when she was growing up. There was all these disorders. So food and body image was all there, and it was not a healthy image. And then when you're a teenager at school, you know, you've got all this peer pressure of what looks good and what doesn't, what's acceptable, what's not. If you look this way, everyone's going to love you, all of that. And you grow up with it. And that's why I've made a huge change in self-love for myself, because I have a daughter who I want nothing more than just to fully love herself and be confident to grow as she's venturing through being a teenager into a young woman, so that nobody will tell her that's what's right, that's what's wrong. She will know in her heart that I am perfect the way I am. So for me, food, it wasn't all real bad, but it wasn't real good. I was a chocoholic. That was one of the things when I started ER Shred. Like any new block of chocolate put on the shelf, I'd be like, we've got to try it. We've got to try it. And I'd sit and I'd eat that whole block. When I first started ER Shred, the biggest thing I was like, holy shit, I don't need chocolate. I actually had this, it was real empowering because I could choose not to eat it, where before I was just, I had no way out. I had no control, self-control to be like, no, I don't need that. I just, like those sugar cravings, and lots of you will know what that is about, that craving that just, they're not there. Hold on, darling, Mummy's talking. I'd always serve up meat and veggies, Sunday roast potatoes, broccoli, everything you needed. But then the choices were, because so we live in the country, every time I shit you not, we drove to town. As soon as we hit town, everybody in the car would say, what are we buying to eat? There was a mindset. Yeah. There was the mindset of, we're in town, let's buy McDonald's. We're in town, let's buy fish and chips. So it was the fast food, the quick and easy. Or we'd be in town for 5 hours for whatever, a morning, and then it was like, I'm hungry, I need something to eat. So what do? You stop at the corner dairy, you buy pies, you buy Coke. So it wasn't healthy, but it was quick, it was convenient, and there was no nutrition to it at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And you feel that played a huge role with your thought process, with the way that you were looking at life. I mean, you've noticed that much of a radical difference from saying yes and fueling yourself with amazing nutrition?
Now that I know and understand, about adaptogens and all these herbs and things that really fuel your body, I can say yes. Before, I just, we're taught about the pyramid scheme. Our kids go to school, they come home and they tell us about it. The pyramid scheme, living by that, which we all thought, oh yeah, sugar's at the top. Don't eat much of that, but yet that's what we eat most of. So because I can literally say I experienced the feeling of the change, I have to put it down to nutrition. Yeah. Nutrition, but also self-development with working on my mindset. Yeah. The two biggest things, mindset and nutrition.
Yeah. Now with, do you think you would have went after the mindset though, if the nutrition wasn't first?
No, I really don't, because the nutrition, I feel, gave me a little spark. Obviously, it made my body ignite into how it's meant to feel. I was adrenal fatigued. Yeah. So my adrenals weren't working. I'd go to bed to sleep, but I would not sleep. Yeah. So I'd always be like, fight and flight mode. Mm-hmm. Anything that happened, I'd go into fight mode. I was always so tense and so stressed out that obviously my cortisol levels, everything, my hormones, everything was just crazy. I didn't even have a space to feel normal or what normal was. That had become my normal. And that's why I didn't know how to function, because it was just get up, repeat, get up, repeat, get up, repeat, until I realized what I just hit rock bottom, and because I was so exhausted, I just couldn't go on anymore. Yeah. My body was giving up.
Yeah. I feel like there's so many people that get stuck in that, right? Like, I mean, how many people, can watch this, and if they're being honest with themselves, it's kind of the same repetitive story that you just shared, right? It's like, you can keep going through and looking for these crazy answers, and people always, they're like, oh, there he goes again with his health. And I'm like, I don't think people understand, which is what I'm really trying to paint a picture for it with people now, is just like, by you guys sharing that story, it's like, oh gosh, if I get healthy, like, what is it going to do? Make me look better? And I don't think you understand how powerful that is. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. And unfortunately, we live in a world where body image is portrayed as this thing, and magazines and media and everything else is out there. And it's like, I think people are doing it for the wrong reason. You know what I mean? And I know I started that way when I first started, and I was doing it because I wanted to be the guy in the magazine, not realizing that going on this journey of health, like, the better your body is in alignment and the better your body is in tune, the better your mind's going to think, the better that you can react. And then when tough situations come up, like you guys mentioned, it wasn't easy and it was a struggle. And I know in your story, you guys were, in your shed gym at midnight. And it's like, those aren't normal choices that obviously people make, but it's like, I get it. Like, to me, that's actually not that crazy. I can say that now. I don't know if I would have said that 20 years ago when I was getting in on this. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm drinking at 12 o'clock,
Yeah.
At the bar at 12 o'clock. Like, I'm working out. I can go party, You start to have these like mental shifts. And I think there's so many people that have been, part of ER Shred now that have been around for 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 months. I think they can start to understand. And I hope more people will grasp onto it, that it's like making that first simple decision is really what it's all about, right? Like giving yourself just that permission. And like you said, unfortunately, some people have to get to their rock bottom in order to get there. So I'm hoping that we can save people from getting to that point. But if you get there, we all understand because we've all been there. If you get there, just know that there's definitely hope. There's definitely, a light on the other side of the tunnel. So let's get into this, if you guys don't mind. What was it like? You guys have an amazing family. You have 4 children, right?
Yeah.
4 children. 3 of them live with you, right?
5.
Yeah. What's that?
All 5.
All 5. Yeah, I know. Most husbands count as an additional child. I get it.
I clean his undies too. So
yeah, I'm the child in my house. Whatever. But take us through, from a parenting perspective. What was it like with your kids before, and when you guys started going on this? When you've started to work on yourself, what kind of changes did you see come about with that?
Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I think for me it was a huge, habit realization. It was, sort of like Trace mentioned, every time we go to town, it was, what are we having? What are we buying today? What are we getting this trip? And it was one day driving through town with our third child, and he said to me, we're driving past one of our go-to dairies. Mm-hmm. He said, "Oh, Dad, what are we going to buy today?" And I was, it hit me. It was like, that habit, I guess, was created due to what I'll say mm-hmm. Had been showing him, to be normal, I guess. So that impact, that habit was having an impact on our children. Mm-hmm. And obviously that filtered down from what I was doing. And, it sort of, like I said, it hit me, and it was like, if I don't change anything, like mm-hmm. the cycle, mm-hmm. then it's just going to be repeated, and I was like, it didn't sit well, it was, I guess, and at this time we had been sort of in our journey already, and it was, for me, it was just a realization that I needed to change something for our children, and the impact that my choices were having on them just in that area nutritionally, every area of what we do, and show our children is absolutely what they're going to soak up and take on. So for that area, food was the biggest hinge point, I guess, mm-hmm. for me. And been watching our children make those choices and decisions, it really sucked, because it was like, it's your fault. Mm-hmm. It's your fault that they're like that sort of mentality. So I was like, well, if it's my fault that they are like that, then I'll be the reason for the change. So
Beautiful.
That was also, I'll just add, so that whole thing there about, that's my choice. A lot of things that the kids witnessed as well through our marriage, mm-hmm. that was, and then they had a trauma. They started fearing us because of some of the stuff they were witnessing. So it's the same thing, but on a different extent, different level. And when we started, especially our middle boy too, again, he's so sensitive. When he started fearing us, or, you know, I'd raise my voice and instantly they'd be afraid. There's alarm bells right there. And that's where, you know, that same pattern, that same cycle of the childhood that Henz talked about, he was raised in, we started visually seeing that, and we were like, that was a huge moment too for us to go, no way in hell am I going to continue raising my children to become another statistic. It is our responsibility. This is our fault, and we need to fix this. As a mother's heart, probably a father too, like, this makes me emotional right now when I think about my children. When your child is afraid of you as your own parent, that's rock bottom. And if you don't make a change for yourself, at least damn well make a change for your child, because they are worth so much more. You brought them into the world. It is your job to make sure they are protected and safe and raised in a way that they will then grow up to be a great person, a healthy person, a person who's going to carry on a healthy cycle, not a broken cycle.
Yeah.
That was a huge changing point for us.
Yeah. Radical responsibility, right? Radical responsibility is a thing that's just fun, you know, flying from you guys. And, you know, again, I know, you know, this is a health thing. We talk about ER shred. We talk about, you know, a lot of people share weight loss, and they share inches, and they share the foods that they've conquered. But I'm, you know, again, I'm hoping to show you the multifaceted layers that really come in the depth of that simple decision. You know what I mean? That simple decision of saying yes to yourself for your health. You know, I'm so thankful that you guys are willing to share all this, but I just want to recap to make sure that people are grasping, because obviously we're talking about, they're like, wait, am I on the right show? I'm like, no, you're definitely on the right show, because this is absolutely what can happen, you know, and this is why it's so important that we share these types of messages, is because, I mean, gosh, if you guys didn't say yes to health, who knows if you'd be sitting next to each other right now?
We
wouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't have been sitting next to each other right now. Your family would have been down a road that I know both of you didn't want, because you both shared that before. You know what I mean? It's not something that you guys wanted. You both have experienced that, and it's something that's, you know, that's there. Did you notice things in, like, your mood? Are you talking about, like, your mood, your fighting, you weren't ticked off at each other? Is that the things that started to change once you started to feel better with yourself? And is that kind of the things that you've noticed?
Yeah. And, you know, also for me, when I started seeing this guy transform and appreciate himself, because he, like, I'm not trying to put any blame or shame here, but Henz was very good at, I'll be like, honey, come on, like, you know, you're getting a little bit overweight, got to be healthy. But it was like a denial thing. And when I saw that shift of him go from denial to really looking after himself, for himself, not for me, not for his children, but for himself, I saw a confidence grow in him. And that turns me on. No, not the abs, not the muscles, though that's all sexy, but when a man is so in charge of who he is and what's good for him, and really looking after him well and healthy, that is a spark for me, because if he's doing that for himself, then there's that ripple effect. It's going to go on to the children, it's going to go on to other men, and that's how the change begins to happen for other people who are watching him, because it becomes real and authentic. He's no longer doing it for me, he's now doing it for himself. And that is how other people will go far out. Look at this guy, there's something happening here. And people have seen it left, right, and center, the change. And I just want to congratulate you, darling, and honor him for that, because I know it was not easy for him.
Yeah.
He used me as his excuse for so long, but now he does it because he values and honors himself and his vessel. That is beautiful.
Yeah. Did you notice a shift, Henz, when you started to do that and started to gain that confidence because you felt better within yourself? Did you notice your attitude change and the way that you reacted to things, and maybe you could control? Listen, I have a temper. I think we all do. This is nothing to be ashamed of. I mean, we all snap sometimes. We all flip off the edge sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, but I noticed with me too. Like, even that the healthier I am, the better those days are when it's more stressful. Did you have that same realization too? Like when you started to feel yourself the right way, that you kind of just balance out and function a little bit better?
Yeah. So like, for me, I guess it was like the empowerment of having a voice. And I don't mean a voice like now, like physically hearing me speak or whatever. It was more the empowerment of the voice within myself, my own voice, not I guess overburdened or crowded by other thoughts. Like I was saying, voices. It was being able to actually turn the volume up on my own voice and sort of tell myself that, no, I am worthy of this. I am worthy of being a good father.
Yeah.
This is where I go, harden up, man.
Like I shared in my story, things were a bit tough growing up, and I was pretty voiceless.
Mm-hmm.
So that sort of just sort of filtered on through like I shared my adult life, coming into the marriage. It was definitely the first place of transition, I guess, for me was being able to allow myself the space, I guess, to voice, to speak into my own life, and to just, I guess, believe. It was the belief more so in myself that lifted, and not, I guess, like Trac shared before, not wanting our kids to be another statistic. There was definitely the path laid out for me, and it was definitely I was at a crossroad. I either follow that path and become a statistic, or make that change. And through that decision, it was that decision. And like I shared in my live last week, it's that first initial decision that is the empowering moment, to be able to just sit and say, yep, I'm going to do this. This is what we're doing. Let's go. Let's get on with it. And just, that really, I guess, sparked in me, firstly, that belief that I am worthy, that I am good enough. And then, obviously everything that's flowed on from that. It's definitely been a blimmin' learning curve. I will say one of the hardest things for me, and that's something I struggled with, was the level of self-confidence within Trac. To see her in a different way for herself. I struggled with that because I was like, hang on, that's not normal. That's not how you are. That's not how
you are. Not how I was.
We had the blinkers on, because we were so closed-minded for ourselves that what we saw for each other wasn't confident, wasn't worthy, wasn't willing, all these sort of things that we now, I guess, value. We value these sorts of things, and for me it was like, hang on, what are you doing? Like, that's not who we are.
Yeah.
You know, and I kind of struggled, and it was definitely a place where I had to grow within myself in order for her to grow. Like I said to her one day, I said, look, I'm not used to you being confident, and she'd hate talking to people. She'd hate crowds. Yeah. And, you know, I got used to that. Mm-hmm. So her wanting to go and, you know, have conversations or whatever was like, hey, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, like,
it's like a pull back in, eh?
Yeah, it was, I guess it was one of those things that, I guess if you think of a fishing rod, it was like, come here.
Yeah.
Because that was an uncomfortable zone to start with.
Yep.
And to have to get used to freeing up a little bit. And I guess that's another concept for me, was being allowed that space to move, to be free. That was definitely a struggle place. So, you know, you got those blooming hamster things at your festival convention things, and you hammer them down, you know. That's kind of what it was like growing up. It was like, get back in there.
Control.
And to have that freedom, it was definitely something to grow in, to learn. So we women, I'm proud.
No, I think it's remarkable. I mean, you both have shared, you know, obviously you're both have very different stories, but it's really the same. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's self-worth. You know, Trace, you shared that growing up, you know, being fearful of food, having to look a certain way. You know, am I showing up for other people? And you live that life. And Henz, obviously you grew up with, unfortunately, you know, witnessing abuse and violence, and, you know, not even, you know, thinking that you were worthy enough as a human being. So then, you know, you don't deal with that. You get into marriage, and obviously, Trace, you have your stuff, Henz, you have your stuff, and you just keep building on it. And life just goes and goes and goes. And how many people fall into this? Because then it's like, okay, and then we have kids, then we have that responsibility. Now we're running around. Now we really don't have time for each other. And then that builds on stuff. And then we don't have more confidence. And then that confidence wavers because you don't know what she's thinking, and you don't know what he's thinking. And I'm not confident in myself, so he can't be confident in me. And it's like this cascading effect, you know? So I love that you guys have both shared that, because it's really such an important piece that people can just kind of take a step back and just look at it and be like, whoa, like, again, you got to fix yourself first. You know what I mean? And where can health play that role? Well, it's like, again, if you don't feel like yourself every day, if you don't even feel freaking human every day, because you can't think straight, you can't sleep straight, you can't digest straight, you're hurting, you're not, you know, you're not feeling confident in your clothes. It's like, as a couple, well, you're not going to feel confident together. You're not going to feel confident spending intimate time together. You're not going to feel confident with, you know, so many other things. You won't feel confident as a mom. You won't feel confident as a dad. Am I making the right decisions for my kids? Like, and it just keeps going and going and going. And you're right. And before you know it, it's like, holy shit, an explosion happens. And unfortunately, that leads to people divorcing, or that leads to people doing bad things to themselves, or that leads to people making bad decisions. And it's like, it's just such a powerful thing to kind of hear you guys share what you've learned out of this, from just simply saying yes to yourself. And again, that just, yes, it's so much health. Like, that's the tracks that get you back on, like that gets you back on the right thing. And then from there, it's a lot of obviously other self-discovery and such. But I think it's just such a beautiful thing to kind of hear you guys both speak about that, in your own way. But like from the outside, I'm like, wow, this is really kind of almost the same story, just with different plot twists. You know, it's different plot twists, but it's really the same thing. So again, I hope you guys pick up on this. You know, what can saying yes to yourself do? Well, it can do quite a bit. It can change your entire inner psyche of how you even talk to yourself. And if you can start talking to yourself well, and being proud of you as a person for no other reason, for nobody else but you, that is then going to carry over into your spouse, your children, the decisions you make, your friendships, how you live life, what you go to do. And that's the beautiful thing. So that's kind of the light at the end of the tunnel for people, of really what is possible, what have your kids kind of taken on to this? What have they picked up from your guys' healthy change such now?
Should we ask them themselves?
Yeah. We got to round everybody up, right?
Yeah, round them up.
But what have you guys noticed? Because I want to show people, like, by saying yes to you, obviously you're able to fix your marriage. You guys, had common goals. You had date nights all of a sudden because you were working out late together. You had this prize that you were going after. You both kind of were on completely different highways. One was going east, one was going west. And now you guys are on this parallel road, kind of shooting to the same thing. What is kind of brought to light with that, with like a family dynamic?
For us to all hang out, like we just celebrated 10 years marriage. Our older boy, he's 19. He came home for the weekend. And for us, we all went back to the place where we got married and we hung out for the day. And when we hang out, it's fun. And it's like we're happy and we do things, and we're happy to pose in front of the camera. I would hate to be in front of the camera. It was always a stressful moment. Our older boy especially, he would hate hanging out with us because we'd always argue, or it was just like a moment. And for for our baby, for our 5-year-old, so we've got huge dynamic range of children. We all can just come together because it's in love, like unconditional love. We just are who we are, and because we respect each other for that now. And I don't know if you guys know about love languages, but like his love language is words of affirmation. And if we say, "Oh, you're awesome, Dad, you're so like our daughter says, "Daddy, you're so handsome" all the time, and you fuel someone's love tank, they will be 1,000 times happier. It's just amazing. So we fuel each child's love tank and make sure everyone's full all the time, and then everyone's firing on all cylinders. But what do you want to add to that? Like,
well, wait, real quick. Would you say that you're able to do that because of where you're at now with the health transformation? Like, it was never like you're loving yourself so much that you now have a cup that's overfilling. Yeah. And then that's spilling out into your children and each other, where that wasn't before, right?
Our daughter would always say, "Mummy, why are you so mean to Daddy all the time?"
Okay.
Yeah, but now our 5-year-old, if we're ever like this or have a kiss or whatever, he's like, "I'm in." Yeah. And they come in for it because they see it's a different atmosphere. When we're in love, you can be in love, but when you're in love and showing affection, and like he'll always touch my ass, and it's a pain in my ass because my number one love language, my zero love language is physical touch. Okay. I don't like physical touch. Why? Because I wasn't raised with physical touch. My mum and dad never showed affection. So when he's like touching my bum and all like that, I'm like, "Would you go away?" But the kids love it. The kids are like, "Oh, look, Daddy's looking at Mummy's bum." That's and they fuel off that and the excitement and that atmosphere of pure intentional love, showing gratitude for each other and just connecting, when you just look at each other and you can be like, "Oh," in your eyes. Yeah. When we're when we're like that, just laughing together, laughing together about silly stuff, because we can be like that. That is our tanks overflowing, and the kids are like that too. You can see it in their eyes, and you see it in their smiles, you see it in the way they talk. And when you're in a unit like that is fueled with pure love, it's powerful. It is so powerful, because then when your kids are going to school and they're out there in the community, what's flowing out of them? It's love, not anger, not disappointment, no self-worth. It's just love and an acceptance of who I am is just perfect. you know. It's again, it's that flow on ripple effect.
Yeah, I think it's beautiful, and I wanted to touch on that because I know we touched on it in the call, but so many moms and dads, they don't take care of themselves because they think that they're giving to their, I'll do anything for my child, right? I mean, this is the greatest gift that you could possibly ever give to a child, is to see this. I mean, I almost started crying because I remember, like, you know, literally every day that I leave, we do a family hug before I walk out the door for work. And my little guy is so excited. He grabs onto mom and literally, like, I go to give her a kiss and he sneaks in to give her a kiss. And then he's got to give me a kiss. And then when he watches me kiss her, it's the funniest thing. He'll literally grab my shirt. He'll grab my shirt and pull me back into her. So and he thinks it's the funniest thing. And I'm trying to think to myself, like, I remember the years that I was just miserable, that I didn't love myself, that I literally got to the point where I just wanted to, like, off myself because at points in time, and I'm like, I could have never shown up like that today if I hadn't been on this journey. You know what I mean? Like, this relates so much to me. Like, I've been on this health and self-development journey for so many years now. And I think back and I'm like, there's no way that I could have ever done that. And it's a beautiful thing. And you just really summed up the reason for people. Like, why should you put yourself first, especially as a mom and dad? Well, here's your reason. Like, this is the reason, right? Like, this is what can happen. And if you don't, if you just keep pushing it off and making an excuse like, oh, that will be selfish, I'll take away time, you're going to take away inevitably ultimate time. If you're not together, if you don't make that decision, you know what I mean? And I think it's such a powerful thing to kind of realize. So I think that's such a beautiful thing. So Henz, did you have anything to add into that? I know I kind of cut you off there, but
no, it's all right. I think, like, you know, when Trace was sharing about the kissing and the touching your butt and all that sort of thing, like, you know, being able to, I guess, teach the value and respect in that area. Yeah. You know, like for our son, they're like, oh, look, Dad's, like Tracy, Dad's staring at mum's bum. And, you know, for me to be able to say, look, boys, I love your mum. Like, you know, I'm in love with all of your mum. Like, you know, but to be able to highlight that in a respectful way, you know, not in a way that's
derogatory.
Yeah. You know, like just being able to speak into that area of respect. Yeah. You know, like, I always try and say, you know, I love your mum and everything about her, and, you know.
I think we were doing a live one day up on the hill, I think, and I talked about that, you know, a son, a mama is a son's, that's your first, their first love. And we teach a man to grow in a sensitive, loving way. So when they marry, when they go on and grow up to marry someone, they're going to know by watching him treat me. Yes. They're going to know how to treat a woman. Yeah. Not lay hands on her, not yell and abuse at her, but how to nourish her and help her grow and flourish. And same as our daughter. Daddy is her first love. Yeah. And he's setting an expectation for her. So when she finds a man, if he's not up here, then, you know, she's not even going to look twice. She knows her self-worth. She knows how to be treated. Same thing. Watching mama be treated, how I treat him. That's how I will love on my husband too. So it's what we're doing right now, it's not only for us, it is for them. And that we are all about legacy and creating that future for them, so they don't struggle like we did, so they don't become broken and have all these struggles. Yeah. So many people are like that, and we just want to create. And that's what I said the other day. My passion, I said with Sean, my passion is to help mums. Yeah. Because if I can help a mum then help herself, it's going to then help her children and her marriage. It's just so powerful.
Yeah. One thing, Sean, Jess, you shared, you know, with the time, you know, doing things now or for a momentary time, like, you know, for us through this journey, it was, you know, a lot of I guess parents will be like, oh, you kids are so ungrateful, you don't know what I do for you, you know, all that sort of thing. And for us, it's allowed us to be able to, I guess, create a space where the children know that sometimes we're going to get busy. Sometimes we're going to have to put in work and do things, and allow them to be in the process, you know, like, okay, mum's going to be doing this for a couple of hours, you know, she's going to be quite busy. Allowing the children to be in that space of, okay, mum's doing this for XYZ. Dad's going to do something for XYZ. You know, being able to allow the kids the knowing that sometimes we're going to get busy, we're going to be having to go and do things, and for them to understand, I guess, that it's for their good, you know, it's for the betterment. And I'll never forget one of our close friends now who we've met through this journey. She shared, you know, about us. I guess it was more about feeling selfish for doing something, because it took our attention, our time away from the kids a little bit more. You know, actually that time will grow the future. You know, it's part of growing our future. So you know, it had to come back again for us. We had to circle back and go, okay, how can we let the kids or get the kids in on this, and to know that what we're doing now is going to benefit all of us in the future. How can we add their value into it, you know, their input, you know, what do you could see from us doing this and all that sort of thing.
I mean, think about this, like, think about how much time you spent arguing, fighting, not investing the quality time like you shared, Trace, like where you can take pictures together and you can go out hunting together and you can go, you know, create these memories. Like, how much of that wasn't happening because of the frustration and aggravation, but yet because you sacrificed the time for yourself to make yourself better, how much more of that quality time do you actually get now because you're healthy, because you're vibrant, because you're loving on each other? I mean, think about it. Like, do you not have more of those times and memories now than you ever did before? And people could look at you and go, oh, you're so selfish because you spent time working out. You spent time taking care of yourself. But how much more? Like, is it not radically more time because you're able to balance it all and manage it all than it ever was before? Yeah, you're both shaking your head. Yes, right? So it's like, isn't that a crazy, like, full circle thing where it's like you think not doing it, but yet you do it. And now all of a sudden you generate like exponential amount of time that you never had before. It's nuts, right?
Can I just share something just there? Like, please. For us, we always, I guess, look to do something exciting with the kids, even before our journey. And like, we sat and we spoke about this one time, you know, that we always try to do family activities to try hide the brokenness. You know, you know, we'd go and try and do family activities and things like that, because we didn't, obviously, you don't go and do something to make it a shit time.
Right.
You know, we wanted to try and create that positive space, that loving space. With the brokenness. Still there, you know. And on the flip side now, everything that we do in that area is healthy, is positive, is looking to grow the family, you know, not actually as a cover up. You know, to try and hide, like I said, that brokenness, that hurt, that dysfunction. You know, it was trying to, I guess, create an image that wasn't how it actually was, you know. So
I totally get it. Like, you were trying to do family things because you thought that was the right thing to do. So you'd go out on an adventure, but still hate each other, still hate yourself, still want to beat each other up, but you pretend, right, to kind of do this family thing to show, and now it just kind of more happens naturally, right? Like you can create that memory literally walking out in your backyard now. Because if you go out there and you run out of the house chasing her and she's chasing you and you're having fun and the kids come following, it's like, bam, there you go. Like you don't have to fake that at all, because you're so full of energy. You got so much love for yourself that like you can roll around on the freaking ground and throw grass up in the air and have a good time. Like there's no faking, right? Like that's kind of what I get out of it, is like authentic, real, like, nope, this is what it's like. And now when you go and do those special things, they can even become more special because you're taking that time. You can really, appreciate each other. You can take a step back and go, damn, like, look at her being a mom. Damn, look at him being a dad. Like, look at the kids laughing. Look at this happening. And it's just that whole good feel, you know what I mean? It just, it kind of, brings it all together. So I love that. I love that.
Often we say, like just yesterday, here's an example, that in our garage outside, our 8-year-old, he said, Mum, can we go do some circuits? I turned the speaker on, 1-minute circuits. We do the rowing, running, and he asked to do that. Next thing, all 4 of us are out there doing that. So often, what would Mum say? No, I'm too busy. No, I've got washing to hang out. No. You know what I do now? I'm like, let's go. Yep, sure. It's 10 minutes out of my time, but it's like an appreciation. It's excitement for them. You just, again, say yes. It comes down to saying yes.
Yeah. Well, you've also realized too, it's like, before you'd say no because why? Like you didn't have the energy. You didn't feel good. You hated yourself. You didn't want to. It's like, so you'd always say no. And now it's like you just realize, like, okay, like that's nothing. I can still have all the energy to do this. Like, what's 10 minutes? What's 20 minutes? Like, I can make that up. I can still do the laundry. I can still do all of this. Like, you were inflamed and you had all this shit going on. Like, no wonder why you didn't feel like doing it. You know what I mean? So again, we have shared so many reasons why you should say yes to yourself. And, I know your mission, Trace, is to help moms. For me, I have this passion of helping 30 to 40-year-old moms and dads, ambitious moms and dads, really just take back control of their life. So like you guys are like the ideal, you're like my avatar, basically. You know what I mean? Like you're literally my avatar. When I narrowed it down, which has taken me years to do, I'm like, what do I really want to do? I want to show people that by taking care of you, it can really catapult the rest of life, and it can make, so much. And that doesn't mean that there's not ups and downs. It doesn't mean that we still don't argue. It doesn't mean that there's not, this isn't about freaking rainbows and unicorns all the time, but I want you to understand the bigger picture. The overall bigger picture is it's going to come out better for you by choosing yourself first, and it really does, I believe, start with health, because if you're not functioning right, then how the hell can any of this happen? Like if you're not functioning right, how the hell can any of this happen? You know what I mean? Like it just, if you really just take a second and think about it, it really makes perfect sense. You know what I mean? So,
you got to keep saying yes, though, Jess. Like you're saying, we all say yes at the start, but you got to keep saying yes, and you got to keep putting that fuel in your body. I know if we have a weekend off or a week away, your body starts to feel inflamed and shit again. You start to behave shit again because the mindset, just everything becomes heavy again. So you've got to keep saying yes. It's consistency with doing it, showing
and
up.
I like something I feel like, when you choose health, the core word in health is heal. Well, that's, for us choosing our health, it gave us the opportunity to heal the brokenness, to heal the trauma, to heal the, everything that we kind of experienced within ourselves. Yes. But also started to lay out, I guess, in our own home, to heal those sorts of troubled areas, just choosing health. That was, like you said, it was definitely the starting point, and we are the starting point, start with ourselves. And then obviously everything will flourish from there.
For sure. I love it. I love it. Is there anything else on your guys' heart? Anything that you want to share? Anything you want to tell anybody listening who's maybe like, oh, I'm just going to wait to the new year to get going. Oh, I don't have time for that. Oh, yeah. What do you got to say about that?
I just, so this whole time we've been talking about one more decision, saying yes, being open-minded. You talked the other day about Ed Milet.
Power and of one more. Yep.
If you haven't read this book, anyone, go and read it or get it on, download it on podcast. But it says here, I just want to read it. You're much closer to the life you dream of than you think you are. You're often only one more meeting, one more relationship, or one more decision, one more action, or one more thought away from leading the life you deserve. And we were just that one decision away from saying yes to something that has now gone on to save our marriage, our family, our finances, our mental health, our physical health, everything by the power of just one more. Not giving up, just one more. Just one go more. Again, one more.
And yeah, like, I have the belief, who says you're going to make it to the new year? Like that's the reality. Yeah, I'll wait till January. Well, who says you're going to make it to January?
Yeah.
Today's the day.
Yeah.
Your tomorrow is not guaranteed.
Yeah.
Like literally,
Today's the day.
Today is the day.
So good. That's good.
For sure. I love that. All right, guys. Well, listen, I don't even have anything else to say to that. That's like mic drop. Today's the day. Who says you're going to make it to tomorrow? So why should you choose yes? Well, there you go. Right. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. I've now taken 3 full hours of your time between the both of you, and now you together. And
we'll give you another 3 as well.
I'm so appreciative of you guys. And I'm happy for you. I'm genuinely happy for you. Man, do I wish we lived closer so we could just go run around in the woods together, because that is just my type of life. Like, you are living my dream lifestyle. I wish I could run away to the woods. One of these days, we're going to make that happen. Yes. And I hope you guys got some value out of this. Drop into the comments. Let us know what it is you got out of this. Again, I know this wasn't a direct, like, oh, this is what's happened. This is the transformation. This is the physical. Like, we hear enough about that. Like, I really wanted to go a little bit deeper to show you what's possible with life when you just decide to make one simple decision. One's not easy, but one simple freaking decision to say yes to yourself. And I can't thank you guys enough for showing up yet again, being super vulnerable. And I can't tell you how freaking happy I am for the both of you to watch you every day, to see you thrive, to see you in your element, to see you doing these things with the kids, the hunting trips, the building the business, the everything. Like, you deserve it all because you guys were willing to kind of go inside yourself and put yourself first. It is not greedy. It is not selfish to put yourself first. It is freaking, you must do it. It is a must. It's not even like it is a must, right? Like, if you want change, go inside yourself first. Start with your health. Let that be your foundation. And my gosh, who knows what else can come of that. So I appreciate the both of you so very much. I hope you all have an amazing whatever day it is for you guys.
Sunday.
It's ahead of me, whatever it is. And I'm just so grateful for you guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Jess.
Thank you. So
all right,
grateful.
Guys. Thank you all for hanging with us. I know we went a little bit over. We appreciate you. Every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. Don't miss our Wednesday calls. Obviously, we're coming into the holiday season here. Christmas, New Year's, all that kind of stuff. Whether you celebrate that or not, it's still coming up on the end of the year. I guess whenever your end of the year is. Do not wait, like Henz says, because you never know if tomorrow is there. It is not guaranteed. But today, right now, right at this present second, you have the power and the ability to say yes to yourself. And the 3 of us, we sure do hope that you do that. So we hope you all have an amazing night, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.